George Steinbrenner was born on July 4, 1930 in Rocky River, Ohio. He was part of a wealthy family. His father, Henry Steinbrenner, refused to let George or any of his siblings fail. He pushed them to succeed. Henry always told George, "Always work as hard as or harder than anyone who works for you." Steinbrenner lived an upper-middle-class life as a child. His father was the proud owner of Kinsman Marine Transit Company. George was never paid allowance. Instead, his father paid him in chickens. He wanted to teach George how to make money in the real world. As a child, George started the George Company. He went around selling eggs door to door. George carried on this company until 1944 when he went to Culver Military Academy. He gave the egg-selling company to his sisters, Susan and Judy. They renamed it the S&J Company. In 1954, Steinbrenner went to Ohio State University, where he began studying for a master's degree in physical education. While he was there, he coached football at Northwestern University and Purdue University. Steinbrenner's father was disappointed that he left the family shipping business, so in 1955, George returned home. Steinbrenner was very passionate about sports. He disobeyed his father in 1960 when he bought a minor league basketball team, the Cleveland Pipers. He invested $125,000. In less than 2 years, the Pipers fell apart, losing Steinbrenner $25 million. In 1972, Steinbrenner tried to buy the Cleveland Indians, but failed to purchase them. He then looked into another team, the New York Yankees. They were already a very successful team with a 39-year winning streak. In 1964, the Yankees had already been purchased by CBS, but they started losing fans and games. In 1973, Steinbrenner, along with 12 other investors, bought the team for $10 million. Under Steinbrenner's ownership, the Yankees signed star pitcher James Hunter. They also hired Billy Martin, the new manager of the team. However, George had to take a break with the Yankees in 1973. He was caught using corporate funds and faking employee bonuses in order to contribute money for Richard Nixon's re-election campaign. Steinbrenner was fined $15,000 and was suspended from baseball for 15 months. After the suspension was over, Steinbrenner led the Yankees back to the top. In 1976, they won their first pennant in 12 years. The Yankees started gaining more and more fans. Over the next couple of years, he lured many very good players to the Yankees, including Reggie Jackson, Ken Griffey, and Tommy John. After a couple of years, the Yankees became more and more wealthy. They were eventually valued at $250 million. As the value of the Yankees went up, so did Steinbrenner's reputation for being a tough and erratic boss. Steinbrenner was famous for his frequent locker room speeches. He also publicly humiliated his players, coaches, and staff. He would sometimes send players down to the minor leagues if he was dissatisfied with their performance. He would bring them back very quickly to teach them a lesson. Dave Winfield, a player of the Yankees, constantly suffered Steinbrenner's harsh jokes. Dave landed a record-breaking contract with the Yankees in 1980, but he and George frequently fought. One of the things they fought about most was the David M. Winfield Charity for Disadvantaged Children. Steinbrenner helped the fund charity until the two disagreed on the purposes of the charity. This fight eventually went to court. The argument went to court and Steinbrenner was pleaded guilty. He was permanently banned from baseball in 1990. However, he managed to earn reinstatement in 1993. He took a less harsh approach at coaching the team. In 2006, Steinbrenner began spending most of his time in Tampa, Florida. He left the Yankees to his sons, Hank and Hal. On July 13, 2010, George died of a massive heart attack. He left a legacy that many baseball coaches should follow. He was a very hands-on type of coach. He brought the Yankees to where they are today as one of the best teams in the major leagues.
With the principal owner of the New York Yankees, George Steinbrenner. George, 125 wins in 175 games. Could you ever have fathomed that this team would pull that off?
I don't think anybody would have. This is truly as great a team as has ever played the game of baseball, in my opinion. Take the 1904 Cubs, take the 54 Indians, all the great teams, the 61 Yankees, the 27 Yankees, they were all great. This is as great as any of them because it's so much harder. Look at these fans. Unbelievable. But it's so much harder today because you have 3 levels. You have to win the division. That's 5 games, and it's easy to get knocked off. Then you got to win the American League Championship, and Cleveland was tough, Texas was tough, and then you got to come in here to this franchise who were tremendous that they won the National League the way they did, overcoming Houston and then overcoming Atlanta, and then you have to face them, and to win it in 4 is truly remarkable.
And you will, of course, get credit for bringing Joe Torre here. How much of what has happened is Joe Torre's responsibility?
A lot of it. We have a great organization. We've got men down in Tampa that don't even get mentioned who meet down there and put this thing together and presented this team. We have Stick Michael and his scouting guys who work so hard. They're behind-the-scenes people. I've got a young general manager, a young female assistant general manager, which is unheard of in baseball. But let me tell you something. You got to let the young elephants in the tent. And these young kids, they did a job. And they are kids. You know, they're kids. They helped put this team together.
Okay, be honest. What did you know about Scott Brocious when you acquired him last year, and what did you expect?
Oh, we knew he'd do it. I don't know. That's been a big question all week. All I do is write down what the other fellas say on the yellow legal pad and then sign the checks. But I'm going back to look up who said what about Scott Brocious, because he is a real competitor, and what an athlete.
George, there has been talk about your possibly selling the Yankees. What does winning a world championship do to the value of this team?
Well, it's what it does for New York. I think it does tremendous for New York. And I'm happy for the whole area, for New Jersey, for New York, for Connecticut, for all our Yankee fans everywhere. There are millions of them. I don't even know how to turn a computer on, but my son and son-in-law, who will be taking this team over, they are on the webnet now. And the other day they were saying, do you know how many hits we had after the first game? I said, hits. I said, we had about 8 the first game. He said, no, not those kind of hits, the computer hits. That's how dumb I am. I'm very dumb, very slow, was not a good student at Williams. They'll tell you that. But I did get through.
George, thanks for joining us.
Okay, I enjoyed it. Thank you.